Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 209, and today we're going to be doing battle with Ashe Kindred. As we get here towards the end of the Darkened Saga Domination patch, right before the balance patch comes upon us, we've discovered the kind of three pillars of the format, if you will. You of course have the Seraphine decks, by and large, the way biggest pillar, just the absolute best thing you can be doing in the format. It can't be a rock, paper, scissors format when rock is just way better than everything else. But in a more balanced situation, that would be kind of pillar number one. Number two are the big Vayne decks, right? Anything Vayne is trying to do where she tries to attack like 5 and 6 times in the same turn. That is, style number two. And then number three is kind of the rise of these big OTK style overwhelm decks, whether or not that's with something like Varus or with something like Pantheon. And so for two of the three pieces there, a lot of that really does get shut down by the flash freezes and the frostbites. And we've gone after this a little bit with the likes of Ashe LeBlanc, but I'm not a super huge fan of that deck. It's just very, very polarized in what it does, and I'm not a huge fan of bringing it. But the Frostbites are quite good against all of the Tumble decks, right? If your opponent has one really big unit they want to cast Tumble on over and over again, if you're able to Frostbite it, you kind of take that away from your opponent. And then against the Pantheon decks as well, kind of the same idea as they're coming at you with their big super unit. If you're able to Flash Freeze it or Frostbite it, it really limits the amount of damage that they're able to do. And so that kind of covers off on, two of the three pillars. There's not a really strong way to combat Seraphine effectively. She's just that strong, but we have had quite a bit of success with Quietus. Quietus being able to come in, basically kill every unit in the deck, and it does give you a nice tempo play that can shut down the opposing unit. If you're able to at least take Seraphine, or if you can take Ezreal off the board cheaply, it gives you the opportunity to try and tempo through your opponent before they're able to take advantage of that mountain of card advantage. Now, the kind of nice thing with the two synergies combined are flash freezing your opponent's units does take it down to 0 attack, which you can then Quietus with. And so that does give us the opportunity to kill just anything in the game with this set of cards that we're looking to bring. And so that is, the kind of core idea and concept that we're looking to bring today. We're looking to use the flash freezes and the Quietus. Then the next question is, how do you best go about using these? And for that, I like to bring in the Freylordian Overwhelm package. And so we are going to be using the Icevale Archer, the Ruthless Raider, and the Ancient Yeti as our unit mix of choice. And then we have a handful of equipment to try and make those just a little bit better. And so we can try and boost up our big Overwhelm posse with the Fereth, with the Combat Cook, and then the Darkened Halberd. The last thing to kind of take note of here is we do have a bit of a Kindred package running along with this. Kindred is another card that is quite good in combating the go tall strategy, the Pantheons and the Varuses of the world. And so we do have the Darkened Halberd as a means to both activate Kindred and activate the Unforgiving Cold. And then we have a handful of small things to sacrifice off, the Vile Feast giving us some sacrificable plays, and then the Glimpse Beyond here backwards to activate the Kindred. And so this is it. This is what we're going to be doing battle with today. I have checked to see if we paid the pay-to-win price, and it has been set. We've got a couple of epics in here, but in terms of the commons and the rares, everything is accounted for. And so, let's get our Quietuses on. Quiet Ashe, hush them up, make it frosty and cold out there, but be quiet in the process. Am I right? Is that too mean? Is that too harsh? What is, I don't know. I'd probably have to look up what Quietus means. They should have just named it Quiet. You get to use some big words, Bust can't say them good, and so... A little bit of a whoopsies on Riot's part, I'm sure. They should keep me in mind whenever they're designing card names. But all right, let's see what we're up against. We got some Zed Hecarim. Nice little start. See what happens. And so here, I like to have a little bit of the interactivity. I would like to see either an Unforgiving Cold or a Harsh Winds. This gives us something to try and shut down their big turns. And so I'll get rid of one Icevale Archer. I don't want to go ham with this. I would like to find some kind of interactivity, but I'm not going to give up on our decent curve just to do it. All right, Fereth, you're coming in. You could make an argument to hold on to it and then try and save it for a glimpse beyond in a turn or two, but I think the game is going to be... Oh, interesting. I think the game is going to be more about getting your mana spent than it is going to be for value, right? If it gets to turn 7 or turn 8, we've either won or we're dead. So no need to go too big on the opponent here. With this, I'll add in the Tusk Speaker. I don't suspect opponent's going to attack, but I'll more than happily trade if he wants to. Again, this matchup is just about not dying. As long as we can not die, then we'll be okay. I haven't mentioned the strategy in recent times, but don't lose until you win. It makes sense once you kind of think about it a little bit, and that just if we sacrifice all of our cards to prevent damage dealt to us, then we should be able to spend more mana than our opponent and overcome them in the late game. They don't have too much in the way of card advantage. Most of their cards just end up dying, and so we have lots of good options in terms of, as long as we're not dead, then we should be okay. But looking pretty decent here. These Hecarim Zed decks tend to not play too much removal, so I think we can pretty safely get Kindred on the board and attacking next turn. And then we have a Harsh Winds to try and slow them down on the follow-up turn. So let's do this. Let's add in Kindred. I'm not entirely convinced we're going to win the combats here. Opponent frequently will just come in and take a bunch of damage. And so let's play it a little slow with the Quietus, see if they want to block anything and activate the Kindred. And then post-combat, we can drop a unit with the Quietus. Okay, looks like he's getting a little involved. Surprised to see him block with the Soul Shepherd, but changes his mind. Okay, take down the unit booster. I'm not really worried about opponent drawing cards here. I know we talked just a little bit about the concept of them not having card advantage, but we will definitely do better than opponent here in terms of just spending mana and buying the time. All right, so Hecarim, always a problem, but we at least have the Harsh Winds in tow. If that's what we want to cast here, we're just going to have to go ahead and pass in the middle of combat. So he's going to be a little problematic here, but hopefully we can survive this and be okay. Let's see. I want to just Harsh Winds, the two biggest ones. It's going to be Hecarim and Zed. After that, we're not facing a lethal anymore, so we can be a little bit greedy in what we do, but let's take a peek at this. So definitely want to be blocking the Zed. He can have a combat trick here to come and do battle against the Ruthless Raider. I think that's okay. We'll do a bit of work onto Hecarim. All right, not bad. Oh, your weakest unit was Hecarim. Sad day for you, my friend. Sad day. All right, do we feel good about open attacking here? Like, the place where we start to run into trouble is if we open attack and then... Or if we open and he has a removal spell and we don't get a lethal, that's really bad. We may not win next turn. And then also, if we do something like play Ashe, that gives him the opportunity to play... No, I wasn't so much worried about Dragon Ambush as much as a card like a... the thing that, say, like a Haunted Relic, whatever the thing that puts 3 blockers on the board is called. Okay, but we need to stop a little bit of this. Ideally, we'll keep opponent like at 5. I mean, I think this is going to be okay. I'm going to cancel both of these. Oh, we can only cancel one. Like we can use the Kindred Spirit Journey to stop the one combat. I think this is okay. And we'll get to make an attack after this. If he has a deny or something to stop the Spirit Journey, I'm not ultra worried about it. It's a big thing. Our Ashe will flip on attack. The Field Musicians won't be able to block. And we should have enough to punch through the rest of the way. Oh shit, we did keep his Dragonling alive though. A little bit of a whoopsies, but I think we're still good. Think we're good.
My aim is true.
See what happens. You can do weird stuff here, like play combat tricks onto the Dragonling so it can block again, but he doesn't have it. We get the victory. GG, my friend. GG. All right, so yeah, some sad news to report today. I purchased a Powerball ticket this week, and I did not become a billionaire. I really had high hopes this week. I did my best. I put a lot of effort into it. I tried as hard as you can, I think. Maybe the hardest in the entire country at winning the Powerball, and I just did not do it. My $2 did not come through, and it's a bit of a depressor, a bit of a sad one. I don't know how you try it better. I don't know how you try harder at winning the Powerball, but I certainly tried. You know, who knows the amazing things I could have done. I wouldn't have given you all any money. I have to announce that every single time. I don't want people to think I'm going to give you money out of my Powerball winnings. You hear so many like ridiculous lawsuits about like people, like it's always like a waitress that is tipped a lottery ticket and then the patron is like, "Oh, I deserve a piece of that money," and it always turns into a big legal shit show. And so I always make sure to preface on here: my viewers are getting $0 of my lottery winnings when I do spike the Powerball. But you know, I don't know. I guess I'll just try harder next time, and maybe that'll be enough for us to achieve victory in the lands of the lottery. It's such a like. I don't want to like condone gambling. I guess if you have a gambling problem, it is a serious issue. But the way I feel about it is I'm reasonable and well enough aware that your chances of winning the Powerball are astronomically low. Right? The thing that you'll typically see is that you have a better chance of you have a better chance of being hit by an asteroid or hit by a meteor than you do of winning the Powerball. But the bust line of logic in it is it's $2, right? I mean, if I met you in person and you were like, "Hey, Bust, can I have $2?" I'd be like, "Okay, I guess." Like it's more of an effort and more of a problem for me to like reach in my wallet and actually have $2 in it. Because I just don't use paper money anymore. It's 2022. That's like the real struggle is physically having the $2 within my wallet to give to you. But if I saw any of you in person and you asked, I'd say absolutely. But when you're thinking of money in such a small terms, the astronomical difference in your life for the remainder of time when you hit $1 billion lottery, I feel like it more than makes up for the loss of monies. And so that's my stance on it. I'm a firm player. Take my $2 lottery. All right, but how are we doing here? This is still okay. We should, well, maybe not at the end of the day, be able to add Kindred and then Quietus and be able to kill an opposing unit. We'll see. But I think we're at least doing okay here. We don't have a great answer for Echo at the moment. This is what I kind of suspected would happen. He'd be able to add a unit and kind of cancel our Kindred kills, but it would have been pretty nice if we could have taken down Kindred with Quietus. I mean, I guess if we really want, we can look to like attack next turn, flash freeze the Echo, and then have the Kindred kill take Echo down, but I'm not like really excited about that. As it stands, if we attack with our Ashe, she's just going to get killed by these drop borders, and I'm not really excited about those prospects. All right, but opponent gets the flip. Ideally, we'll come up with a flash freeze or something here before long and be able to stop Echo from generating the time tricks. I'm not super worried about him right now. And this is another one of these decks to where it plays kind of similarly to the big time Pantheon decks, as to where he's going to try and generate a big OTK kill turn. And we can kind of shut that down with the flash freezes. But opponent hit their crystal. Love it. Love seeing it. Dumb card. Dumb card. Oh, we got a second Ashe. Interesting. Let's see if we're given the opportunity. Well, if we're gonna be real, he's gonna play his combat trick in the middle of combat. So let's add in the Yeti. See if he maybe does it preemptively so that we don't go for the Ashe damage, right? Or the Ashe Frostbite. And then I think we're still okay here otherwise. So if he kind of like preemptively crystals to stop the flash freeze, then we can still play our Reapers. Yep. All right, combat reel, sure. Looking to just have 3 attacks on our Fereth, and so there wasn't a real decision with the combat reel. But if I should say, if we're gonna come up with like a scout, right? The scout's not one that we really want to be taking. I want to attack, make sure that we can kill both of his units. Pretty good chance at this point that he's going to have a -2 attack thing, a Scrying Sands. And so I'm not super interested in attacking with Kindred, but I am still good to attack with our 2 ephemeral units and our Ancient Yeti.
Let's not go back to that timeline. Oh, hello, Echo.
All right, we get a mana back, attack with the big boys, leave Kindred at home where it's nice and safe. Let's see what happens. Like blocking with Echo? Is he already going to Chrono Break? Or whatever that one's called? Is it Chrono Break? Yeah, revive allies and then rally. It's not something you typically throw your Echo into. Maybe he just has another Echo in hand and wants to time trick. And watch yourself here with these ephemerals. Some of you may be pondering in your head, what unit is going to get hit with the Kindred Boom? It's none of them. None of them are. He's got that doesn't count as a kill or a slay when the ephemeral units just die. All right, but a little worrisome now. His deck is kind of churning, and we don't have a lot that we can do about it. Could Vile Feast our own Kindred, right?
Our stories, our struggles have built this empire.
Not awesome. Not awesome. Gotta drop a blocker in the Vile Feast. Probably just dead here. Oh boy, a Hexite Crystal. Okay. Okay. GG.
They will try. We.
All right, well, no lottery winnings for that guy. He's definitely not getting any. I'm not going to give my viewers any lottery winnings. That guy's not getting any either. All right, on to battle with Action Sivir. So what do we got? I'm kind of okay with hanging on to Kindred here. This is interesting. Like the thing here would be is like you look at Quietus and say, oh, that's a great way to kill an action. But if they have a combat trick, it just kind of cancels the Quietus. And so it's like, I don't want to just keep one. I think I want to keep 2. But most of their units are just small, though, right? There's going to be Sivir. A lot of people play Ruin Runner. But outside of those, I think we should be fairly safe here. And so I'm kind of looking at this as if we can just play like a little bit of a value game. We'll try and pop the action. He played the unit, so we're definitely good at killing him with Quietus now. And then if we can get this Kindred with a Vile Feast, they'll probably play something else that we can kill, whether or not it's a Treasure Seeker or what. But White how I was anticipating this going. Let's blow up that equipment.
Steady now.
I need to find something to do next turn. I don't want to overbank a ton. He did not find something to do. Yeah, like we have the Vile Feast we can use to kill a Treasure Seeker, but I was hoping that we could save it to kill a bigger unit. Now, I guess as far as this board stands, we can just use Kindred and the Quietus, or with our Spiderling on board. I don't think he'll block here. Ooh, what do I know? I was going to say with our Spiderling on board, I thought that we might be able to just sacrifice it to the Darkened Halberd. But opponent's out here causing us problems and stuff. I'm just going to pass on this. We'll let him deal the damage if he wants, and then we can follow up post-combat with one of our units. And Sivir. We don't have the greatest collection of threats in this spot. Alright, we'll just get domed for 10. I think we should be okay after this turn. Let's see what opponent does, but I want my spider back. that might have been a little too greedy on our side. Let's see what happens.
All the world on one arrow.
Bring in the Ashe. At least in this spot, we do have the mana to potentially work some magic. He has a formidable block with the Broadwing, but we have the Inner Beast should we need it. And then ideally after combat, we can say Quietus the Broadwing and take down Sivir or something. Did we get him? Did we achieve all of our goals? Got it. Nice.
They will.
Good stuff. And then that's not a circle ability, so it makes its way through the spell shields. Good stuff. Good stuff. Feels much better now. Rip Sivir.
For me, the spirit's dance.
Quick hands make quick work.
And a Treasure Seeker. It's like interesting in that if we equip our units, then we can still get like a similar takedown with the Unforgiving Cold. I'm not sure how. Here, oh, actually, hang on. I'm gonna say if we Darken Halberd, kill off the Tusk Speaker to boost something else, it's just gonna put the Kindred mark onto the Treasure Seeker. But I think that's okay, because then we're just gonna shrink his two big units with our spell.
Death.
That sounds good to me, especially if he plays the second one that he already has in hand. So let's kill an ally. Let's equip Ashe.
It knows.
Was that backwards? We should have. I forgot that Kindred was vulnerable. Maybe it'll work out okay. I wouldn't be surprised to see him just try and get hooks in with the Waking Sands, but okay, this works out as well. Good stuff. And we're in a decent spot next turn, right? He needs another unit, because as it stands, we're going to be able to open attack and then just kill him with what we have on board. Doing stuff? Doing all kinds of stuff. Quit trying to injure my dudes. But we should be good now. I was going to say, he only has one card in hand at that point. The open attack should be good enough, and if it's not, we're still reasonably well set up to just overcome that board. He drawing the Crystal Arrow on the next turn with the Three Sisters in hand. Good stuff. Good job, friends. Annie, Jin. Okay. A little scary. Nothing in this hand really works against Annie Jin. We're looking for Quietus. We want Vile Feast. We want our cheap dudes. We're going to struggle if we have these really mid-rangey draws. We just mulligan into another mid-rangey draw. Just a lot of 4-drops. You can essentially consider Ancient Yeti to be a 4-drop. And so we're probably going to get boomed in this match if we don't start drawing things like Quietus and Vile Feast really fast. Right, if he like plays Annie and then we're able to Quietus Annie on the first turn, we're in such a good space, but this is a little bit more challenging. What we got now? The Darkened Halberd. I'm not really amped about this. I'm going to go ahead and add the Archer. We would ideally get to use it next turn to where we flash freeze a unit and then block a different one, but it's going to leave us in the space to where he's just going to open attack on us. We could have looked for this to be like a little bit safer if we had said just passed, waited on him to play a unit, and then played the Ice Veil Archer after opponent played a unit, but it feels a little slow.
At the threshold of something great.
Ew.
Our purpose calls to us. We cannot turn away.
No 1-drop, please. Well, we can prevent 4 of it. Got to take 6. Not the greatest, but we at least now get to get Kindred on board. We can start attacking his plays. We can have bigger units than him, and so we're at least moderately healthy. He's not going to be able to burn us out from this high.
Shall we, dear wolf?
I'm ready, little lamb.
Of course I'm ready.
Okay, I'll take anything off the board here that we can. Sure. That's pretty good for us. The Noxus Blast killing off his own unit, not going to face. Pretty happy.
Art requires
Onward with Jin.
cruelty.
So as it stands here, we should be taking 5. And then if he plays another card, we have some opportunities for shutdowns. All right.
The denouement.
Let's go ahead and spend the mana and get this dum-dum off of the board. We can manage things like the Tusk Speaker, right? We have a reasonable collection of removals in hand, and so we can do some flash freezing and stuff next turn should we need to. So, I mean, I don't think he blocks the Yeti, but we'll see. And a Noxus Blast. So we'd fall to 1. We can, like, entomb the Tusk Speaker. I don't think I'm really on board with that. It's going to be close now. We're definitely hurting. We died to Decimates and stuff, but died to Doom Beast. Maybe we should have. Maybe we should have. That's tough. That's a really rough spot, though. You gotta have those early plays to prevent that early damage. I'm surprised it went so poorly, given that he had to Noxus Blast the Kindred, but when you don't have a 1 or a 2-drop, it's really, really a rough day against Annie Jin. All right, now the lurkers. If we're on, if we're on the even attacks, I'd feel a little bit better about keeping Ashe, but I'd rather find another 2 or a 3. We do have the Ice Veil Quietus combo here, if you will, but mainly just looking for 2-drops. And a Sharkling. Oh, never mind. It's our token. I was going to say, there's... I mean, maybe we should have just played the Quietus. I'm going to say it stops him from doing this. If you can do whatever it takes to prevent that deck, the lurk deck from attacking, and they just can't hit your lurks, it leaves you in such a really good spot. It's like, now that we think on it, probably should have just played the Quietus and then used that as a tool to now have like a blocker against this board. Now we're in kind of a it's not a horrifically bad spot, but it's not as strong as I'd like it to be.
Leave nothing standing.
All right, well, I'm good to go ahead and clear out the board. It's like we should maybe hold on because we do have the Kindred in hand, but it's so slow to try and get Kindred on board and then use a follow-up Quietus, since the opponent attacks in between and gets the 3 attack units. We can't do anything about it. Rek'Sai. Wonder if he's gonna have a if he like drew 2 Rek'Sais and he's gonna play the Ruthless Predator. You weren't on my radar. I thought it was gonna be a Call the Pack. Okay. Well, we're at least really healthy here. Losing out on Kindred kind of sucks, but opponent should be struggling a little bit to build up a board against us. Kind of surprised you didn't block here. Right, because we're getting reasonably close to an Ashe OTK, and if you're able to, right, we're just like never blocking this thing with Ashe, but if you're able to stop that damage, it goes a long way. Ike. Okay. Ready with the flash freeze. Need to get that off board. If we can find another unit, we can get a kill next turn. Glimpse Beyond is a pretty horrifically bad draw. Right, this is the spot we were kind of hoping to be in. If we have 6 from Ashe and then we have 6 from the other units, we're really close to hitting that lethal. Can't quite do it now. I think we're still stuck attacking with Ashe. He's probably not going to want to block with his pike. We'll see what opponent offers up. Maybe we'll live the dream and he'll try and play a removal spell. Nope. The dream was not lived. But he needs to attack right now or we'll pop him with a crystal arrow. No. Just no. Get that nonsense out of here. It's a little worrisome now. We lost our quick way to deal with a pike, right? So now if we play the crystal arrow, it's going to be slow speed. He can respond with the... What the fuck? Oh, it's each lurker. We should have looked at those a little closer. I thought that the Jawfish did all the striking. That was my bad. I would almost rather have the Ashe back now.
I'll take my share. Against my tusks.
All right, and then, I mean, we probably need to Glimpse Beyond. Like, this Tusk Speaker doesn't do anything. And I don't want to end up in a spot next turn to where we like don't have the mana, right? So like we can bank up a couple points here. That's okay. Just more Quietus. LOL. Let's see. Let's see how this shakes out. But I don't want to go into next turn and be like, oh, cool. We just don't have anything to do again. So if we can make it to our next attack, which it looks like we're gonna have to do, we can play the Darkened Halberd as Tarash, and that should be a lethal. So let's see what we can do. We got the one Unforgiving Cold for next turn. We're gonna glimpse beyond Dum Dum here away, see if we can't find something just to put on the board, and then let's see where it gets us. Darkened Halberd didn't want, but Three Sisters is good. Lame. Lame. Why did it freeze the same guy twice? What the fuck was that? Oh, he has Spell Shield. Okay. Opponent's dropping early emotes. We gotta get it now. Come on, deck. We're counting on you. Opponent emoted early. We got 2 flash freezes. We got 1 Unforgiving Cold left. We can do it. We can do it. Uh-oh. 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 What do you think of that, Fam Jam? Does that get your motor running? What did this guy hit fucking... Oh, it's every time? God, that's so stupid. On attack, he gets the bonus. Man, that's dumb. That was so beautiful, right? I was so ready to call that a day. Dipshit out here emoting early, and we drew the answer, but you have to break too many spell shields. That... my day has been ruined. That's worse than losing the fucking lottery, man. People emoting early and you don't get to take them down. Like, as much as I hate this meta and as much as I don't really want to play the game in the current environment we're in, nothing really brightens your day as much as beating someone when they emote too early. It's like the real punish here is like we just get, you know, the good feelings. I love it in Snap, playing Marvel Snap, and your opponent's like equivalent to emoting early is snapping way too early, and you still just beat the shit out of them. It feels so good when that happens. Like I can't get myself hooked on Marvel Snap. It doesn't engage me in ways that I like. But there are some serious feels that the game brings about. And it is also kind of interesting that it has losing feels different in Snap in that losing is a strategy when it comes to that, right? If you're not familiar with how the game works, if you just beat an opponent, you gain 2 and they lose 2. But if you snap and beat the opponent, they gain 4 and you lose 4. And if both players snap, you both lose 8. But you have the option to just quit, to where you can give up on the battle early, and then you only lose 1. And so there's strategic losing in Marvel Snap, to where it doesn't exist in other kind of card games, as to where you can lose less or you can lose more, win less and win more, and kind of an interesting concept. All right, let's see how we can do this here. He's got this lone victor on board. We don't have any way to kill off our own dudes at the moment, though. Oh, is he going to get too greedy? He hits Challenger. How greedy are you going to get, man? Not mega greedy, just little greedy? Okay, I feel you. Okay. I'm trying to envision the way that we get the kill on Victor, because we enter Beast and get the stance swap and then AoE everything for 1. I mean, we can't kill the Ice Veil Archer that way. Maybe that's a way worth pursuing. See what he does here. Well, so we lose the archer, but we still get the mark onto Victor. Not quite sure what his angle is here, but I'm okay with it. He's gonna just have like a aftershock or something for Kindred. You can deal with that. I have been bamboozled. Not what I expected to see happen. All right, let's get all our big friends on board. A little bit short in the land of lethals, but opponent's going to have to work back quite a bit to get through this. Oh, cool. Just drum solo into Seraphine. Nice. Nice. All right. Well, we have to follow up combat with the Darkened Halberd. If you just come out and say LOL, I'm sending I'm playing my halberd and attacking, they'll just come in and block your dead bros. Interesting. Zero cost Tiltstones getting a homecoming. What was he returning? Is he returning our Kindred? Let's just take it out of combat with the Spirit Journey. Still get to deal, with this way, we still get to deal the 4 with the Ruthless Raider, and then we still get the mark onto Seraphine. He gets a free spell, but whatever. Alright, and then we're probably going to have to win this one on our next attack. It's not the most exciting of spaces to be in right now, but fucking A. Okay. GG. Cannot wait to see what happens on Tuesday. Cannot wait. Oh my gosh. Drum solo into Seraphine. That was one of the points that Drissoth liked to make, is that it's not so much the extreme amount of RNG. It's like he tried to tie in a tweet that Ruben Zoom made, which makes a lot of sense, to where trying to play around everything is just too much. Takes too much brain power to kind of analyze and think about every single card that your opponent could play. And so you just try to say, okay, well, what's the worst case scenario that could happen to me right now? And then you just play against the worst case instead of playing against every case. And it makes a lot of sense to kind of think in that way. I think it's pretty great. But when you come back and look into the case of Seraphine, like, what is the worst case scenario that we were supposed to imagine there? In that opponent can draw anything in his deck and have anything in his deck cost 2 less mana. Are you really supposed to play around the concept of your opponent drum soloing into Seraphine and then Seraphine generating random cards? Like, it just brings like way too much into the game. And so for the most part, people aren't going to be thinking about it that much, right? On the level of thought people putting into the game, I'm not going to think that far into it. There's only a handful of people in the world that can realistically do it, right? I'm sure you as the viewer are one of those people, but in general, just a very, very limited number of people that take the thought to that level. But it doesn't feel good either when you just have to say, fuck it. It's like, am I supposed to play what's the minimum amount of effort I'm supposed to put into this? And then your response is fuck it. Then Riot has the problem, right? It's kind of the classic thing of if you owe the bank $100,000, it's your problem. If you owe the bank $100 million, it's the bank's problem, right? It's kind of a similar space that I feel as to where Riot has to do something. It's currently a Riot problem. I think the number of people that enjoy the current meta are quite low compared to the number of people that dislike it.
I'll catch the next act.
All right, let's see what we can do here. Our hand, not that impressive. We do not have a lot going on. Gonna pick up the Pan of Pain instead of Overwhelm. We just need like a little bit of resilience for our units. They're unfortunately probably not going to get the resilience that they need, but you gotta hope for something in that sense. I think we can add the Ice Veil Archer. All the units we care about killing, we can kill with Quietus anyway, so we don't have to worry about Flash Freeze Quietusing a unit. We can just kill Victor. We can just kill Seraphine with it. Replaying Master Yi. Karma. Can't kill Karma, but not too worried about her right now.
Picking up a storm.
The future is steel and science.
See, Quietus still kills Victor. I did the mathematics on that. He only has 2 attack right now. I did it. You're welcome. But we're still pretty far away from victory here. This is not looking good. We need good tempo draws against this deck, and we just most certainly did not have one here. Another problem with Seraphine. She comes down and just immediately replaces herself. And so if you don't have the card, then she just runs over the game. If you do have the cards, then they're just like, oh, cool. You know, you made a trade of 1 mana. Right, and then we're gonna have to be ready to go next turn. We're gonna have to pay pretty much full price for this Ancient Yeti. It's not a lot we can do. Way better than the Ice Veil Archer. Okay. All right. One more battle before us. One more to go. Let's see what we can do. Haven't had the most success with Ashe today, but I think it's kind of an interesting thing to think about. Because in part, as we roll into the next expansion and we see how strong the equipped cards have been, the concept of equipped cards, the improvises, and the equipment themselves, we should be seeing some darken equipment coming out for Freylord and for the other factions. And so it's kind of interesting when you come in and you like look at deck building right now. And I want to play a really good darken equipment, and I want to play Shadow Isles Freylord, but the Shadow Isles one isn't super on theme with what we're trying to do. And then the rest of the equipment in the game, you know, aren't as strong as the various darkened cards, right? That's kind of one of the big deals. If you go over and look at a deck like, if you look at a deck like any of the Vayne decks where Vayne also gets to play a darkened faction, and you get to play 6 equipment, and they're good early and good late. You don't quite get that when you have to go and play the 5 mana one. That's what you're getting out of Freylord right now, right? A big 5 mana equipment. So it'll be interesting to see.
Lunari, Solari, deluded fools.
Because the thing with the Darkened Halberd, I mean, it's fine, but we're making like a lot of effort to try and get these equips going. I'll take the Fixum here. It is interesting when you have access to the fearsome equipment and your opponent is and the Frostbites at the same time, but I don't think our opponent's board here is really enough to try and to go for it. We'll see how this plays out. I don't want to just like open with a Quietus onto Master Yi. It's too easy for him to have equipment. And so we'll see kind of like once the dust settles here if we have a reasonable way to take Master Yi off of the board. He's getting tapped down pretty low.
Hey kid, hey, get some tasty meat skewers.
I'm big. I'll eat what everyone else eats.
He's only got 1 mana at this point, so he can still play the double combat trick, whatever it's called. But oh my god, I did it backwards. F, that's that's not the strategy we were looking for. It's so tough to see the proper order on that when you cover up the screen with the deck tracker, but whoops. A little bit of a whoopsies. Won't be my first one, won't be my last.
Stand with me.
Well, I didn't want you anyways, unit.
Feel it too.
Got this sweet darkened halberd now, though. A little bit of whoopsies. And he brings in the gem, sure. Well, let's kill what we can kill.
A calm heart.
The undoing draws near.
Yes, yours.
All right, put a little bit of Frostbite onto Kane. He can still get the +1 attack when he attacks, so I assume he's probably going to come in on our Icevale Archer, but we have 2 3 Sisters in hand. We can stop a little bit of this if we want. Hang on. We're mana short. It's a little sloppy.
Troops on your head.
See if we can at least salvage a piece of this. This game has been disaster mode of bust misplays. It's okay, though. It's okay. We'll recover. We just got to make it to 10 mana and we can get Tarash down, right? Right? Somebody tell me I'm right.
The winter's claw strikes.
Ruthless Raider coming back. He said you fucked it up. You fucked it up too hard. It wouldn't be that bad with a 5/3 Ruthless Raider, but Dum can't play his equipments right.
Full of pain.
Uh-oh, he's pausing. Let's see how bad this can be. Let's see how bad. Alright, I'm going to play my card. My trap card, if you will. It's coming in. Time to eat a concussive palm and call it a day. These games have been brutal. Interesting. Digging real hard. This would be the kind of space where I'd feel a lot better if we put a copy of the Harrowing into our deck. Right? The Harrowing has that oops, I win factor as to where even at 0 cards, we can still kind of come back and win. We have it to a degree in the Tarash, but it's it's a big difference in spending the 10 mana or whatever it costs now with 3 of it being spell mana as opposed to just dropping Tarash for 10 real mana. All right, we'll call it a day here. It's probably done. So, yeah, not a great set of games. We had a bit of slop in there in terms of the gameplay, but I was kind of interested in how some of these concepts were going to work between Ashe and the Flash Freezes and the Quietus, and I'm not entirely opposed to it. I think Quietus is a fairly undervalued card right now. I don't know if it's just undervalued because Shadow Isles is so bad in this format, and Viego was the kind of Shadow Isles king, and he just got nerfed, and so It's kind of rough there. Decks like Nasus Kindred just get straight murdered by Ezreal, and so it's just not a really strong format right now for Quietus. But I think it's good to kind of keep in our heads as we're coming up in this upcoming new format in air quotes that both here in about a week there has to be some kind of nerf to the Seraphine engines and all of the cards that have just been plaguing the current format. And so that gives us a little bit more opportunity for Quietus to perhaps do something. And then also thinking to that next patch, the big release, whatever the next set is, which I think should come out in like 3 weeks. It's usually, I think, with the way things are tied together now, I'd have to look at the world schedule, but I think it's a week for the next patch, and then 2 weeks after that, the new cards will come out. And so, as we see things like the Freylord Darken equipment or whatever the other Darken equipments that are left to come out, it does leave a lot of space for Quietus to be kind of good. And so, it's an interesting concept. I didn't like a lot of the execution here. I can't decide if this should go just more aggro and get rid of the Kindred engine, or if it should go more control-y and lose on some of these things like Ruthless Raider and Tusk Speaker. But our collection of cards here was not very good. As we often said in Expedition, you don't want to half-ass a bunch of things. You want to whole-ass one thing, right? And it's usually pretty important in Runeterra to say, okay, I'm going to aggro deck today. I'm not going to do this weird shit with Kindred. I'm not going to do the sacrifice stuff with the Darkened Halberd. I'm not going to try and go for any of those value plays. I'm going to go aggro. Or kind of on the flip side, if you're really heading towards Ashe and you're doing the flash freeze thing, then you do get to kind of tie her in with, say, Noxus and say, well, we get calling strikes now, and we have access to some of these 5-attack matters kind of cards, and they all kind of synergize together. And so I'm also curious if this, I thought of perhaps putting some like Yeti's engine in here, and the only Shadow Isles we were going to be playing was Quietus. But I have in my head that I really want to be playing the Unforgiving Cold, and so that did kind of push me towards playing the equipment. That's why you see the Darkened Halberds and the Ferrets. And maybe this kind of idea is okay if you're just playing, say, like Freylord Allegiance plus Quietus, right? And not going as heavily into Shadow Isles. Wasn't really happy with the total composition of the stack. But, hey, if you liked it, take it, run away with it, do the best that you can with it. Love to hear what you think and your thoughts on it. But at the end of the day, that is going to do it. And so I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.